Okay, how's everybody doing? So this is probably a good time to maybe demonstrate or explain part of this final fascia framing and joinery that I think is really crucial to the model. It gives that nice clean edge that I spoke of. So you can see how this is flush, the foam, the wood, and this line, like it's there now, right? Pretty much. I'll probably have to stroke this upper deck piece down, and it's going to get cobblestone anyway, but this is the line that that matters, because the fascia is going to go on the back like this. Okay, but I just want to show you how I'm going to join this seawall. So you got this plastic substructure seawall that's textured with the Tamiya grit and/or any kind of acrylic grit of your choice, right? So I want a nice clean edge. This is going to be like either a dark olive green or black. So I want this edge to be really nice, sharp, and clean. So what I'm going to do here is take, because this is styrene plastic already, I'm going to take number 297, it's a 1/4 inch angle, okay? That's what it looks like. And then I cut a piece, and what I do is I lay this on my cutting board, and I just cut like every 3/8 or 1/4 inch, or depending on the curvature. You don't have to be accurate with it. You can just eyeball these cuts, right? See that? See how it fans out now? So what I'm going to do with this is this gets glued under here like that. Okay, in fact, I'll even show you. I'll just start it like this. Okay. Get a good start there anyway. Just so that I can keep it flush, because I want to make sure that it's nice and flush to this edge, so I'll have a really good glue surface when I take my styrene, which I think I mentioned earlier, it's black styrene by Evergreen Plastic I'll probably use. And then it'll, see how I can just, I'll be able to glue it and get a really nice weld here, okay? Okay, so this is called the scarf joint, and this is how you get perfect joinery for diorama fascia, even on the model railroad as well. See this panel here? This is 45'd in the same way this is, except it's, let me turn this around. So the 45 is like that, right? But your joining panel is the opposite. So this is glued in place already, it's fixed. So when I slide this 45 piece in, it tucks in tight underneath, and there's plastic in behind the seam, right? Not wood or a gap that you have to fill. You shouldn't have to fill with styrene if you use this type of method. This is the correct way to join panels. Carpenters know this. When you weld this, like in plastic in this particular case, this should mushroom out a bit, which will be plastic, it'll be a perfect chemical bond, like weld, and you scrape it and sand it, and this will disappear. You won't even know, you won't be able to see it, and there's no filler necessary. So this is the scarf joint that I've talked about in the past for perfect panel joinery, and in this case, on a fascia for a diorama, okay? Okay, so I just want to show you this joint here, the scarf joint, because it's worthy of note. Remember when I showed how to scarf joint? Okay, so this was welded, right? So it's a chemical bond, solvent with plastic. It's not a mechanical bond. You could never do this with CA, never. You would never get this clean, no filler, there's no filler required here. And even if there was, I could lay a 0.4 millimeter dowel rod in there, melt it right into, if there was a groove, right? But it wouldn't be as strong. Why? Because this joint is scarfed. It overlaps. This is maybe 20 degrees, but 45. That's what it was, to see when it glued together, but with more surface area with the 45-degree angle, right? So you got plastic behind each other on both sides. So that line is just the line of the angle of the scarf, but there's nothing there. Like my finger won't catch. See, nothing. I just scrape it, right? See, it's scraped and it's perfectly level. And the only thing this is going to require is just a couple shots of the rattle can with primer and a wet sand if it does show, but I know it won't because I've done this so many times before, and it's worth the trouble. That is why you do a chemical bond scarf joint for doing panels, because they disappear and they're perfect, okay? Okay, I just wanted to show you the back side of the fascia here, getting close to getting this particular part out of the way. Just take these clamps off. This is not my favorite part, but it's necessary. And the reason why it's necessary, especially when you do a really nice, clean, perfect edge. See, I can't model that yet, but I will now. So you can always tell if you have a good fascia or not when somebody walks away and then you ask them, do you remember the fascia? And if they say no, then, then you know that it worked, right? Anyway, you can see I got this side done and I got the front and then this side, and I'm just fairing in like this area here again. I got to fair this in with some Tamiya texture and then the same on here, and then I'm going to repaint this. And then I did the same here with the bunker. This is a Tobruk, by the way, if anyone was wondering. There was no openings on this, like in this particular section of the Juno Beach. They stood behind it on a platform and then they would retreat into a trench system in behind the bunker. But this is going to get another piece in here because I don't have a big enough panel. So I scarfed this. So see this here? Let me just show you this part in closing. So I didn't glue this yet. Oh, sorry. I didn't glue this yet. See? I'm going to plastic weld that because that's got a plastic weld all the way along the top there. But what I did was I CA'd this bottom, like this frame here. See how deep it is? That was varathaned and then the plastic sanded, and I used medium CA. There's no way that's coming off. And then the foam, I'll use PL300 here, the appropriate adhesive for foam to plastic. And then here you can see I lined with square stock 250 thou by 250 thou by evergreen, welded. So the other piece that goes in gets welded, so I get a nice corner. And I'll cut this last, like once I weld this seam, I'll cut that and then scrape it down nice. And then I'll just show this. This is like what a bone, like, look at this. Look what I did with the knife. I slipped. I did this once before, okay? Sorry. I was scraping the top of this to get it level with when I'm going to finish the cobblestone street here. And I slipped and scored down the side here. Well, I can fill that with Tamiya putty or this automotive glazing putty, which is the same thing, by the way. You know, I mentioned this in passing. I wasn't going to, but the one thing I noticed, the older and wiser that you get when you're in this hobby, you realize that how long you've been duped. So this is like $5 or something. It's 455 grams. This is $8 and you get 32 grams. Both mixes with lacquer thinner. Same stuff, but this is red to me as white. This is matte, medium, flat, and so is this. And well, I won't go into the price and the difference in that either. But anyway, it's funny, right? Every hobby product is just a small portion of some larger professional product. But anyway, yeah, that's coming along the face here, right? And I'll show you finally when it's finished and closed up. Okay, so there you have it. Perfect Diorama Facia. So just in closing quick then, I tried out the Tamiya instead for the first time on this plastic. It seems to work fine. I didn't really need it. I just skim coated. I mean, it's so minimal there. Like I just lightly sanded that. That's that boneheaded scratch that I did. So I skim coated that. And then I tried it on the corner here, which I don't really need anyway. I'll probably sand most of that away. But you can see the edge, right? It's perfect. So you got plastic to plastic, you got plastic to wood to foam to, there's fast mesh on there, and then matte medium, and then the sand, same as the front. It's hard as a rock. Like there's no way it's razor crisp, like the corner, regardless of the undulation in the profile. And then you can see here the same, and then this is the foam seam right here. So PL 300 for this big slab, scored with a knife on the opposite side that I glue, obviously, and then the foam, and then there's some plastic near the back. But you can see, and then I wicked in 100% strength matte medium all along this seam just to ensure. So I had the PL 300, the matte medium to really bind that together, and then I re-skim coated this and used my masking tape to incorporate these mold lines on there. You can see up here, like this I'm really pleased with too. Like this is perfect, like the corner, see that? Perfection. And that's how I do it, and that's why I do it that way. And so the final will be what color to paint this. So it'll either be satin black or dark green. I'll probably go dark green because of the green vehicle, right? The olive drab vehicle and so on. It'll, like in the same way that a painting with a liner, you use the inside liner on a frame to pull out some color in the painting. So that's how I'll do that. Okay, so thanks for supporting the channel. Thank you to all my subscribers. Happy modeling, and I hope that you have a great day.